There is a point in every editing thing where every time you go shout, I'm like, fuck, and I just open Google and I have to find the I'm like, stop shouting everything out.
You Gargamel.
Blazing Snorkels.
Gargamel. That happened in one lifetime. It happened in one Snork lifetime.
Yeah. The point there too is you can pick.
The blue.
They did it.
For 100 years,
They donned the air, man.
Damn.
It was dope. It was dope.
That's fun.
You would have hit niggas with that.
Yeah, dude. Sting used to do it, so we used to do it.
Speaking of pool noodles, what are we talking about this week?
That was a good segue.
Yeah, that was a good
That was a
segue.
good segue. Good segue.
Well done.
So cute.
I'm gonna segueen into the Snorks. We're talking about Snorks today.
Oh, Snorks.
Snorkens. It was a classic 1980s Saturday morning cartoon show, devoid of plot, character, development, everything that I remember from the 80s and my youth. Cartoons were different, kids. They weren't like this.
Right, because like there was the season didn't have an arc. It was
No.
every episode, every 12-minute episode was its own contained thing, and then the next episode they don't even remember that shit happened.
And in this case, even the individual episodes barely have anything to qualify as arts. It says, "Do you want to go to the dance? No, you're a loser." Like,
What did they call the dance? What was that word?
Debutante. They went to the debutante.
Oh.
They didn't even make up a cool C
Dude,
pun.
maybe
and-
we did see
No, we
that.
all
And they
saw the
kept
same.
saying-
Oh,
Yeah,
we
yeah.
definitely
We definitely
saw
did.
It's the first one that came up when you search for it on YouTube.
She asked the one nigga to see it, to
All-star.
go, and he don't respond. Then she goes with the brown nigga with the two.
With the two Snorks, like you do.
For double. He had twice,
You know
twice
why.
the length of every
Yeah.
other Snork.
Yep.
Even though if it was in two, it was still twice the length.
Dude, he's twice the man. He's twice the Snork those Snorks could ever be.
He communed with nature. He had JoJo Snork. But there
Listen.
were other Snorks. There was
all talk like-
All-Star. There was Daphne. There was
Junior.
Junior,
Not
who was like
Tudor.
not cool. Tutor. Oh,
Tutor.
Tutor was my favorite.
Tutor
was my favorite.
Is the
He didn't
funniest
talk.
one. He makes sounds.
Slugger.
I don't
But
remember.
he's
No.
remember from Police Academy.
Little Mo with the
Remember
gimpy
Police
leg.
Academy? There was the guy who did all the voices. I forget what his name
Yes.
was.
Oh, yeah,
the-
of course.
The bleeps, the creeps, and the sweeps.
Yep.
Yes.
So he did all the voices. That's basically what Tutor was. He would just
Michael Winslow?
Yes.
Yep.
No relation
There we
to
go.
Carl.
No relation.
Yeah, I looked.
Which,
R.I.P. Carl.
Wait, did he die?
nah, he's not
The
dead.
late Carl Winslow.
I do think
He got out of it.
I do think the other guy though from Police Academy. I think he did die.
From which?
I think he
I think he did
passed.
die. But yeah,
Michael
Tutor is
Winslow.
basically him. He just does voice, or he just makes humming or noises. Anytime he has something imperative to say, it's like.
Does he speak any English?
No, he
Do
just
they
makes sound.
understand him?
But does he do that with his mouth or with the snark?
With his snort.
With his snort.
Okay, so he doesn't just sit there and
So he's mute?
No,
and
no.
not use the.
It's hard to say. If he's not a mute because he's
They seem
communicating.
to understand him.
Yeah,
He speaks with his music.
dude.
He's
But from his-
communicate.
From his snort.
All right, but back to the Snorks. All right. I was talking about Tutor. He makes the sounds out of his nose. There was All-Star. There's girls. They pine after each other. But
One of the girls was voiced by the person who does Bart Simpson, Nancy Cartwright.
Yes.
Oh,
Okay,
yes.
so
No
I did
shit.
see that.
Yep. Daphne.
but like, are there adult? There is we all saw the same episode where they were at the debutante. And there was one like adult Snork, but they're mostly they're a small community of like children Snorks, right?
Right. They go to like school and stuff. Yep.
But like, I guess where are the adults?
Because the adult.
Snork War?
No, the adult is a human. He's that like He's that hot sea captain
Oh,
there,
true.
where he's like,
No.
he's in the boat, and then he's like, yo, sup.
Yeah.
Sup.
He's not the dad.
It
though.
was
They've got-
Jeffrey
Dude, what if the
Epstein's
Snorks
boat.
were just sperms?
That's what it is. He's Jeffrey
fucked the
Epstein.
mermaid.
Sea monkeys.
He showed up on his boat, on the Lolita boat or whatever, and he was like, yo, look at all these young... I wonder what they could do with those snorkels, and he taught them his ways.
What
Because
the
that says it says in the beginning of the thing, in the intro to it, that there was a human sea captain, and they talk
Yeah,
about
yeah,
him.
it does
Yeah,
say
they
that.
learned his society from him. Or
Yeah,
something.
that's why they use
and
clams
I'm
as
saying it
currency.
was Jeffrey Epstein, and it was his boat. That's what I'm saying.
I didn't hear you go in that direction.
They called him Captain Ortega or something, but
Yeah, that's exactly what it was.
one of his many aliases.
Well, the ship that they showed was definitely like the fucking Nina Pinta Santa Maria. It was a big old vessel.
yeah,
Snork and Sense-
Could have been
Snorking.
Mayflower. I apologize.
it was the party out of its times.
Dude, it was the party yacht. Well, problematic party yachts.
I mean, think
Oh,
about it.
Barry
You're
Allen and the Amistad.
think about it. You're a captain who's been at sea for a long time. You haven't known a woman's touch in a very long time, and you come across this this race of sea creatures who are kind of cuddly and have these weird little digits that seem like they might have some uses. You know, like
There's not much human contact with them afterwards. Like, well, I don't know. What if he just like blows his load over the side of the boat
It was think about it.
and then they just grow?
It was some other person talking about
That's
the
true.
dude, and they were just kind of like, "Oh, I believe him because," and then they just start showing the Snorks.
Well, I feel
or
like they didn't
something
believe
along-
him.
something along
They
those
like
lines.
didn't believe him
what
because he was trying
happened
to tell them
People
about
didn't
happened in-
believe him, but the narrator believed him.
yeah,
Yes.
but what happened during that ... though? What happened during that cut?
I have no idea.
Exactly.
Right,
We
right.
skipped that stuff. It was
So I guess
edited
this,
out.
yeah, so his load couldn't have created them because they've already existed. He ran into them and the
His
Snorks.
load.
Well, my idea was that he just blew a load off the side of the boat and then they grew. But
Which seems boring. Like,
it's not boring.
if
It's a
we're gonna
great
go that
idea.
route, let's-
Hey, I've
let's
already
go that
retconned it.
route.
I've already retconned it. I said it wouldn't make sense because they are already existing. They saved him, right? They're the ones who helped him. get to
He's
shore.
what, an asexual being?
I don't know.
Let's table the whole load thing for
Let
a
me-
minute.
Yeah,
and let's
let's
see what you
table
guys
it
are.
indefinitely.
We'll put a pin in it and circle back.
I don't want it to be. I don't want
Let's
it to be
go-
anymore. I've already said I don't like the idea. It was funny. It was
Let's
funny.
talk about.
I don't like it anymore.
Let's talk about what
Weird.
our Snorks. There's not a whole lot of actual Snork stuff to recap because it was kind of just the Smurfs, but without anything that was good about it.
Well,
So-
but also, the Smurfs, they were created. The Snorks were created directly to compete with the Smurfs.
you started doing He-Man Snarf.
Yes, but no, like that was like
Or
behind
Thundercats, sorry, that was Thundercats.
Behind the scenes, that was the thing. The Snorks were created by somebody who had a beef with the Smurfs. The two creators, they were not having a good time. Somebody wanted creative control. Somebody else didn't. He said, "I'm gonna fucking take over with my Snorks because you won't let me have a piece of the Smurfs." And
Is that
that's
true?
That is true.
It
Yeah,
is
yeah,
true.
and that's why they kind of look alike, and the whole thing's the goddamn same and everything. Yeah, they were created. The cartoon was created to compete with the Smurfs
The
directly.
guy from the Smurfs didn't want to play ball with all of the storylines they wanted to tell. He had his stories, and he wouldn't play ball, and he kept beating them in court. And they're like, no, he owns the rights to this. So they tried to make their own because they wanted to make all these more toys and everything. Not that the Smurfs wasn't successful with toys, but there were just creative differences. The Smurfs guy had a lot more control over his product because they didn't know how big it was going to be, but they got sick of arguing with this guy. So they're like, yo, we'll just make another thing that's basically the Smurfs, but it'll have a little snorkel, and kids will think it's fun to play with, and we'll just sell all that, and we could sell double the Smurfs merch, and that was the idea.
No
The
kidding.
guy who came up with it literally came up with it in order to make more merchandising money. So the
He
Smurfs
didn't
came from a
win,
real, actual like comic
Unfortunately.
that a guy cared about and actually made, and it was Dutch, right? Like,
Yep.
and the other one, it literally was just to sell toys. We're back to Transformers and He-Man, which were cartoons that were literally made for the sole purpose of selling toys.
Which is fucking crazy. All right, so they live in the Snorks, right? The Snorks, they live in an area called
Snorkland.
Snorkland.
They were very creative with
yeah,
that.
so
They really thought that
close
one.
of
They
course
thought a
it's
lot
called
about
that.
it.
And where does
Couldn't have called
Snorkland
it something
take place?
Reese, like-
Do we remember?
I'm saying Bermuda Triangle.
No, it's very
Oh,
specific
it
where it
is.
exists.
Oh, it is actually a thing. Okay.
It's very specific where Snorkland exists.
Say more.
Oh, I will. The Mediterranean Sea.
Ah.
Why is that funny?
Well, let's just think of some countries that exist on the Mediterranean Sea.
Oh, I thought you were.
No, I'm telling you out loud.
Are we doing
what I said,
geography?
let's do some geography.
I thought you.
Let's do some geography.
Italy, the Greece, Egypt? No,
Yep.
Egypt,
Yep.
Morocco,
Israel, Lebanon.
Oh, I forgot about that.
I'm afraid to ask.
So my idea is that the Snorks from Snorkland are trying to. They've grown their population maybe up a little bit, and they actually want to become a nation, like part of the United Nations. Right? They want to actually sit at the United Nations.
Yeah.
Because they're right. So like Malta is in the Mediterranean, Cyprus is in the Mediterranean. Why can't Snorkland be?
Do they have government?
Governor.
There's a
Wentworth.
mayor.
Yeah, there is
Oh, there's
actually.
a governor.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a serious question.
Yeah.
But now that you say it,
It's just one madman's idea. No, but I just thought it was. I thought it was super interesting that they thought enough to not just put it in some random location. Like, no, Snorkland is actually in the Mediterranean Sea.
okay.
And I just thought that like geopolitically right now, that's a fucking crazy place for it to be, and then for us to kind of bring it up.
Well, my question, and it might be like a matter of like who cares, but hear me out. Can it be a nation state if the entirety of it exists below sea level?
I mean,
That's never been done before.
Doesn't it have to be actual landmass, to be called a nation? It has to be actual terrain that it's founded on, right? Like, it could be, like, New Orleans is below sea level, but it's terraformed.
Right.
Like, this is an undersea kingdom.
What
We're
would
doing
be-
something new.
You got a very good point. And why? Who would have anything to gain from them doing that? Trade?
well,
maybe.
right. I don't know.
Probably not. You can just go in the ocean and take whatever you want.
Right,
Right,
but maybe that's why
exactly,
they're like,
yeah.
all right, we're fucking done with this shit.
Maybe they're tired of being pillaged and looted by Captain Ortega's friends, if you know what I mean.
Keep on coming
and,
down.
Maybe they're trying to advocate for, like, protection under, like, NATO or the UN or whatever. But it turns out, like, you don't get to do that unless you're in good with the right people. It's not really about protection. It's about, like, a whole lot of stuff. But maybe they're being kept out of the United Nations, and that's the thing. So they have to ally with this gross guy, Captain Ortega, to move some money around, right? And they don't like getting in the bed with this guy, but he's got power and connections, and you want into the United Nations, you got to pay the toll, is all I'm saying.
I also kind of, so when we saw the Debutant episode, we got to meet JoJo, and JoJo had 2 Snorks, right? And so that kind of made me realize, like, initially when I first saw him, because I don't remember that from when I was a kid on reruns, but I, seeing it now, and he was apprehensive at first to go and, like, hang out with those because he was different, right?
Yeah.
Why? Well, because he's wild. He grew up in the wild.
He didn't have a dress.
And I was like, he didn't, oh, yeah, you're going to wear a tuxedo, and what's this? Oh, it's a limousine, whatever. He's not a part of Snorkland. He's a native Snork. However we want to say about that, but it kind of, watching that, kind of made me think that while I did initially push the UN idea, but it kind of opened up my mind to the fact that there are probably other Snorks, because they're actually a small, what do they call them? They're like a small, not race. I mean, they are a race, but they're their own small little village, like Snorkland, like the town that we see. That's their own thing. And
Like a tribal kind of thing.
And if he's coming from the wild, that means that there's got to be more, right? And he's just the one that's kind of doing the overlapping, which then means that there's probably multiple sects of these Snorks, all with their own, geopolitical issues. Well, I didn't want to go down the route of, what if the Snorks wanted to fuck with Israel?
Well, hold on.
But it could be a neat way of kind of dealing, because if it's still a kid's show, it'd be a cool way of kind of dealing with differences,
Okay, I think one of the few ideas I had was, let me just jump and I'll come back. I'm gonna connect it back. I think. Don't hold it against me if I don't make it back.
No, you're
But
good.
I think one of the ideas I had is, all right, so the Smurfs, right, are essentially a little commune like that, and there's always been that sort of tongue-in-cheek comparison. Oh, the Smurfs are communists, right? Like they.
Papa Smurf rules all.
Yeah, they all have a job. They all work and live in this one little community, and everybody does their part. You know,
gotta stay in your role too.
Right. But that's
not.
so it's like it could be considered to. I don't think that was the point of the show or anything, but people have said like, oh, the Smurf society is kind of like communism.
Sure.
What if the Snorks are the fascists of the sea? Because of that, they're trying to join the UN. Global warming is happening, right? And the sea level is rising. Their time has come.
Yes.
Right? Like it is time for the Snorks. They're equipped to live in this new water world that we're about to have, right? The Snorks are they're gonna have the resources and they're gonna be able to access it. They don't need boats, they just need snorkels. Like they can get where they need to go. They already have this government hierarchy and they have Captain Ortega, a human, on their side to pitch for them that discovered them. Like this is how he's like, we have power. I can harness the power of this undersea race of these pseudo-intelligent creatures. The Snorks are his army, and what he wants, they are leveraging the effects of global warming are helping them, and they're leveraging their ability to deal with that in order to gain entry to world politics, and therefore economic status and trade.
Jeffrey Ortega is starting to actually trade Snorks.
Are we going with Jeffrey? I like
Jeffrey Ortega started to trade Snorks with the UN elite.
Is Snork like
You got
ivory?
Bill Clinton's just hanging out in a room full of Snorks. It's like, yeah.
They don't look. They're not.
Give me the ones. I only want the ones with two.
Yeah.
He enslaves them.
Yeah. They go in with a nice straight
He's
snork and then come out
trafficking
they come out with a zigzag snork.
You know what? One of them had that.
And one of them did. Guess
Dimmy,
what?
Dimmy had a zigzag.
They had
did
a
he
run
get
in with
that? How
Jeffrey
did it get
Ortega.
that?
Yeah, definitely.
Jeffrey Ortega.
All right, I gotta say, I hate the UN thing. I love the coming for what's theirs thing.
Okay.
But I hate the UN political thing.
scrap
That was a
Let's
fun
just
idea
fucking go
that
to
I initially
war
had
on it.
when I thought about Israel
But
and
no,
Lebanon
they
and all these
should be
countries.
coming for what's theirs.
And
They
we
should
do,
be.
but
We've
we do
been
get into
relegated
that
to
a
the sea.
lot.
But I don't
But
want.
man, I don't
definitely
want to be doing votes.
Well, that's
and
what I'm saying.
gotta,
We're
like...
getting to. Yeah, we get into this a lot.
Yeah, yeah.
All right.
Otherwise, like, who are they going to
So
dominate?
here's
like,
what I was thinking.
Let's fucking go.
The Snorks used to be Smurfs, and the Smurfs and the Snorks had a thing, and the Snorks got banished to the ocean.
Ooh, I like that.
And now global warming is happening, and the Snorks are like, you fucked with our shit. We
their
were
time.
fine with this peace. We were fine with being in the ocean, but man, you crapped on us, literally.
Yeah, you
and
did.
now
You
we're
dumped it in
coming.
our ocean.
We're coming out. We're coming
Maybe
out.
the Snorks are the lost people from the lost city of Atlantis.
Ooh.
And
And
they
the-
turned fishy.
The Smurfs were dumping all their toxic waste in the ocean, and so the Smurfs that were cast out to the sea got like mutated into these. That's why some of them have two snorkels and some zigzags.
Not even, dude.
They're just mutated from years of Smurf
Not
waste.
even necessarily mutation, right? Adaption, evolution.
Right. Yep.
What do we know? Like, is there a time frame in which the Smurfs exist? I don't know, but Gargamel does exist, and I guess I'd put that Middle Ages.
I think because he's like a wizard, isn't he?
Yeah,
He's wearing a
he's
robe.
middle-aged.
He's wearing a robe.
But let's
Fuck
just
middle aged.
Let's
What the
get,
fuck?
let's go with he's ageless though. He's a wizard, right? He can,
Yeah.
he can live forever.
He's
So
ageless.
so Gargamel has been middle aged since the Middle Ages,
Yeah.
and he still hasn't changed probably much, but he's been maybe taking the runoff. Like maybe the Smurfs to do their mill thing, he took the runoff and he decided to make plastic out of it or something, and now he's been throwing. You can't break the plastic down, so it's all going in the ocean. And maybe the Snorks are building a society out of all that trash. There's a whole continent, right, in the Pacific Ocean of just trash. Maybe the Snorks, that's how they're keeping their cover, right? They live under it, so no one knows they're
Yeah,
there.
that's-
so
They're
the
hiding
Snorks
under
are
the
mad that
island
we're
of garbage.
cleaning it up now?
No,
I mean, I'm okay with that.
No,
too.
that's
no,
been a
they've been
shroud,
hiding under there
right?
while they build up their weapon supply and their forces. And now,
Garbage Island.
now
Yes.
they're going to come out emerge from the garbage pile, and Captain Ortega is going to lead them into battle against the Smurfs or against whoever stands in their way. What's up, Bres?
Producer idea. What if we don't do a war and make it a rom-com?
I know, but what's fun?
We can
Wait,
Romeo and Juliet this shit. There's still
people
war, but
fall
we
in
got
love
Romeo and
either-
Juliet.
Can people fall in love over the course?
What if we
during,
have
before,
a
or
What
after
if we
the
have
war?
a B plot that's a rom-com?
I mean, that's
I'm not-
Hollywood. Hollywood loves a love story.
We
I'm
can-
not opposed. I just
that's what we have Captain Ortega for. We have all of our characters are part of a love story.
No, a Smurf and a Snork.
Well, there's only one
Fall in
Smurfette.
love.
And
That's
they're
the only
cousins.
one.
Well,
But then I
you
start
know, how
to
do
think
we
about,
show it
but
when
then I
it's
think
not
about
made, you know?
Pocahontas, right?
not
Disney
saying
did a
we
great
can't.
job at pitting John Smith and Pocahontas together. Although we know the true story, but like they did a great job at that. We're both humans. They just look different, right? So we could do some sort of underwater Pocahontas scenario where JoJo's great-grandson and All-Star's great-granddaughter are now smashing fronts, right? All while
Well, the
there's a
Smurfs are actually a lot taller than
insurrection and civil war happening.
You would need like 3 Snorks in a trench coat just to get up inside Smurfette, because they're a lot taller. The Smurfs are like...
No, the Smurfs are very short.
Smurfs are about knee height.
No.
They are?
I
No,
saw-
they're not.
I
Oh,
literally
they're 3
looked at...
apples tall. That's how
Smurfs?
tall they are. Yeah.
It said it's
12 inches.
Okay.
How big's the apple? They golden grannies or whatever they're called? How big is this apple?
That's
I'd
Their
say
lore.
you'd need to fit a whole Snork in there to satisfy a Smurf. They're still smaller than 3 apples. You know what I mean? The little trumpet alone. I mean, I guess you could move it around in circles. Like
It's
there
the
might
motion
be technique.
in the ocean.
All right,
That's a good Snorks too. The motion in the
Yeah, there's the motion plus the zigzag one or the one with 2. You can imagine like it's not how big it is, it's how you use it kind of situation. Yeah,
titillating.
right.
What if the Smurfs are like they're donning an air suit and they're going down to
Donning
collect
the airman.
They're going down, they're going down. They're
Donning the
airman.
collecting.
Bubble Man.
They're collecting taxes from the Snorks this whole time. They're
Who is?
the Smurfs are collecting taxes from the Snorks.
Why would the Snorks give them any money?
Because they've been doing it for a while, and that's what they motherfucker, this is America's 250th. You know what we did 250 years ago? We fucking rebelled against taxes.
Okay.
Well, we weren't in the Mediterranean.
Well,
Some of us were.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, negotiation. You
Eventually-
can negotiate the details. But I'm
Y'all
thinking,
were really,
when
really,
you're
really,
saying why
really
were they
well,
paying,
yeah.
maybe they've been
Cradle
doing
of humanity.
Africa.
They've been doing
Yeah.
trade. Maybe that's what it is. They're mortal enemies because the Snorks happened after a civil war of the Smurfs, and someone went in the ocean and got toxic mutated into Snork people, or something. But like the vague idea, the vague outline of that. Then, since then, Captain Ortega, this time he's a kindly sea captain. He's not an Epstein sea captain. He's just a regular guy.
Okay.
He's just looking to do some business. And he discovers them, and he realizes there's a lot of money he can make by playing go-between between the Smurfs and the Snorks, because they both, he realizes their economies could both still benefit from each other, but they won't talk to each other. So they do all their business and negotiation through him. The question is, how big is his cut? They start to get suspicious of him, and that's where we get our Boston Tea Party moment. Perhaps, and because I like to bring the 4th of July into this in some way. It could just be because we shoot fireworks out of the Snorkels. I don't care if it's as simple.
all right,
I don't care if we get.
Hold on.
I don't care if we get
That's
that
all right.
simple.
No, that's canon
That's the
now.
only thing we all agree on. So
Tudor's the
Agreed.
ultimate pyromaniac.
Agreed.
That was
I
brilliant.
just want to work the 4th of July into it somehow. But it also needs a compelling plot. But this also opens up, because we don't even have to foreground this, and it's not like we have multiple scenes of them sitting in like cabinet meeting. I'm saying this is what's going on in the world that we are in, right? This is our exposition. This is our background. We know that the Snorks and the Smurfs have been doing trade via this guy so that they don't have to communicate. But that's where we get our romance. There's a Smurf and a Snork.
Yeah, we do the Romeo and Juliet.
Because like maybe
thing, yes.
there's like different Snorks. They maybe every so often like they marry between each other. They send a Snork to live in Smurfville and a Smurf to go live down in the sea,
make Snorks.
and that's how they retain
Every
peace. That's what peace offering.
4
Yeah, every 7 years.
What if there was already a Smurf civil war and Gargamel just fucking cursed a bunch of Smurfs and turned them into Snorks? We have all the pieces are there, right? There was already a civil war of some sort. We can do a quick 1 minute hash on that, and then Gargamel's like, you motherfuckers are the problem, banished to the ocean to never see again. Maybe he doesn't have the power to kill, because he's maybe I don't know. But so now we have
A lot of rules.
He's
bad at
and I'm
at
not here to
sorcery.
find him. I'm just here to pitching
Yeah.
my idea.
We got a lot that we're whittling. We're whittlers here.
Yeah. And so then that could be one way where like they are, they are the same creature, so it kind of makes sense where they would there would be a reason for them to fall in love. They're there. They were once the same. Maybe that's how, I don't know.
I liked bringing in the romance kind of thing, that aspect of it, because it is kind of like kids' cartoons kind of stuff. We just watched The Dance, right? It was about teenage
Definitely.
romance that was part of it.
They all had
So
girlfriends.
we
Yeah,
like
All-Star
we had a
does
lot of
date,
ideas.
like one of his best friends later on.
Yeah.
Like,
and
that happens.
And
by
I
the way.
think that's the cool thing. The foreground story, your A story, if you will, that we're telling, involves the teenagers, just like it did in the show. Just like it's a story about kids coming of age, all that. And
So much come.
the Independence War is in the background, right? Like it's not really the plot. It's it's that like you've had this back, whether it's Ortega or Gargamel or whoever mediates this. We have these things, these two separate societies, and the way they've kept the peace for all these years is that they marry one of their own to the other, and like in history, you know, where like you get married to somebody from one family and you give them some cows and sheep,
Give
and
them
we're friends
yeah.
now.
Oh, I
And so
recall.
like every X amount of years or something, there is
A pilgrimage.
yeah, or the boat come, right? Maybe it's Ortega, maybe it's whatever, but maybe what we're following is a Smurf, a young Smurf and a young Snork, who this time around, like there's a threat of kind of war breaking out. The relations have gone poorly, the sea level's rising. Like this isn't like the direct plot, right? Like the sea level's rising and the Snorks are starting to feel like maybe it's our time, and the Smurfs are starting to feel like, all right, we got to stave this up, quell this rebellion before it goes anywhere. And but what we're following are the two teenagers, one Smurf, one Snork, and this is the first time in their lifetimes anyway that this marriage, this arranged marriage has happened. Because in the past everyone was excited, like maybe they're older, they have an older brother who's like, man, I always wished I got to go, like that's, I've never seen a Smurf in real life. I always thought when I was a little girl I used to dream of going to marry a Snork, you know, like it's an exciting thing, but because the conflict is happening, these are the first two that have ever been going through this in a time of conflict between these two nations, and they're worried about their friends back home. You know, they're like, well, what will happen to my family if I'm here in Snork land, and what if they attack? Like, I want to be here with my people. Like, I want to defend them. You know, I want to, and they're worried. Like, they're kids. They don't really know like what all that really is about, but they're worried, and maybe that's our stories. They meet each other, and they do fall in love, and they both believe in peace. They don't want their countries to go to war, or their lands or whatever, and maybe that the bond is about them falling in love, and there's somewhat of a Romeo and Juliet thing. They don't have to die. Nobody has to die. There doesn't have to be a war. That's just to give it stakes that might happen.
They're kind of both in the Snork and Smurf Navy.
It could be that they signed up, like they were young cadets or something, or I don't know. Maybe the Snork that is being married off, he wanted to join the Snork Navy like his brother, but he was chosen to go be the husband. And maybe the Snork brother who's in the thing was like, well, I wanted to be, but I've been chosen to do something else. I don't know. Maybe there's these
Got
like
a club Snork.
No
teenagers.
blue booty
What
for
if?
you.
All right,
Teenagers being unsure of their roles, you know.
Well, you know how like
their
different
expectations.
Snorks have different Snorks, right? They're all JoJo has 2 Snorks. Some of them have
Is
zigzag.
that what they're
Snorks.
called? Snorks, the thing on
Well,
their
they're
head?
Snorkels, right?
Yeah, I think the Snorkel is the thing
I
on their
just
head.
got that. I'm sorry.
Oh no, don't worry.
The snort.
So it would be cool if like our titular character, it's all good. What if our titular character, he's got like a soft Snork, right? He's one of the soft boys, but when he finally sees the girl, the pine,
It
he
stands
gets
at
it stands
attention.
first time in his
he
whole
sees
life.
that blue booty and he
Dude.
just look like he looks like
that zigzag straightens
It's
right
that
out.
he
woo
looks like he got a unicorn. He got that.
Yeah.
Woo, woo.
Yeah, and Tudor's like, oh god.
So what was did your thing fit with that in any way?
Rush of blood to the
or
head.
do we like that at all enough to stick with it? Like
I'm liking it, right?
a vague
'Cause,
premise.
In my because we've kind of identified like that we're not really gonna go the human route, which I do appreciate. But I was just saying, as you were saying something, it kind of also dawned on me that like each one of them has a humanoid in their lives. And what if Jeffrey Ortega is Gargamel? And he's the one going between the two.
He puts on the big fake beard and the hat.
Right, so he's the one who banishes them and has them become Snorks, if that is the route we want to go. But then also the Snorks saved this random Jeffrey Ortega, and so now they're aligned to him, and the Snorks are not necessarily aligned to Gargamel, but they each have
playing both sides.
But they're both one and the same.
It gives us a villain because we're lacking a villain at the moment.
And so that might be one way of doing it. We got
He's fomenting the war. It's his fault.
Yeah.
We got somebody we can blame.
So my idea initially, where I didn't want to go in this direction, but I'm glad we're going in this direction, is because they're in the Mediterranean Sea. Alright, I had to write this down and I just could not commit to memory. Alright, because they live in the Mediterranean Sea, which means that there could be Italian Snorks. So I'm thinking the Jersey Shore Snorks.
The Snorkuality.
Yep, and then there's also
Like you will.
Then there's also Greek Snorks.
All right.
Right? Because like they're all just gonna be like snorked versions of the countries that they're near, right? So there's Italian Snorks, Greek Snorks.
I do like that.
But then there's also like Israeli Snorks, Palestinian Snorks,
Storkanos.
there's Egyptian Snorks, and then
Swim like
and they
a snorgip.
and there's Snorks that control the Strait of Gibraltar, and there's Snorks that they all have their own geopolitical thing, like
Because Gargamel's like from the Middle Ages, right? What if Jeffrey Ortega is a descendant of Gargamel?
okay.
He's that way we have a villain from the Snorks, because we are rebooting the Snorks. But it's Gargamel essentially, right? It's just his descendant carrying on his mission. That's why neither the Smurfs or the Snorks recognize him as fucking Gargamel, because that's a ugly dude that is recognizable. Like, it could be him in the beard and the funky costume, or it could just be that Jeffrey Ortega is actually, it doesn't even have to be Jeffrey.
He's definitely Jeffrey.
George, it could sound more Gargamelish. I don't know, like it's George Mel Ortega or something. Like, but whatever. Like maybe he's. I like it. I like
What
that
was
he's. I like
Gorgamelin?
because we do
What was
need
that
the
thing yours came up
Georgia
with?
Mel.
That was good.
Georgia Mel O'Keefe. We just need, but we do need like for
That was
something.
funny, by the
for
way.
story like
That
this,
was
we
really
need
funny. It took me a second.
It
That was a
was
good one.
fu- it
That
was
was that one.
funny.
I was like,
guys.
It was
a second.
funny. I laughed.
put a laugh track, Dan. Put a laugh track right here.
Put it.
Put it on the screen. Give her a snorkel.
Oh shit! Yo, we need a Snork filter.
I like the idea of having a villain, because if we establish it, we kind of do this a lot where like it takes us a while to figure out who the villain is, and I think that might be what we're missing, that gives us ideas to go off of. We're like, this is our bad guy, then the plot starts generating
Because
itself from there.
Rose, even rom-coms have a villain.
Yeah,
the guy you don't
sometimes
want
the
to-
villain,
Yeah.
sometimes the
most of the time
villain,
it's just Russell Brand.
or it's just time, bad timing,
Yeah, but
can
there's
take
always
people away
some-
from each other.
Isn't there always some meddling somebody?
Well, there's like the guy she's not supposed to marry that she's supposed to marry.
Okay.
And
Yeah, the
like-
meddling thing
Betrothed.
could be her own psyche, They're deep.
I don't know that word.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, they're Snorks. Of course they're deep.
Hey,
They're so deep.
But the original
Mariana's
story
French
of the
D.
Snorks was not deep, so we got to figure out what to replace it with. They're not giving us that much figurative depth to work with, so we're kind of like
can't fathom that.
flying on our own
Kiddie
here.
pool.
We're
We're
like
the
Helen
kiddie
Keller. We're
pool.
flying kind of blind here. So I think it's good to establish a villain, right? Like main character, we got a teenage Snork
Mutant.
who maybe wanted to go join the Navy, but he's like, maybe he had 2 Snorkels and that precludes him or something. But they marry him off because maybe that's a thing Smurfs like. I don't know, but for whatever reason, we have a Snork that is being married off and a Smurf that is being married off. We get a little glimpse of each of their cultures, like how they grew up and why they're both nervous. This war hasn't broken out, but they're nervous because what happens if I never get to see my family again? Like stuff kids worry about in times of distress. And maybe if this Jeffrey Ortega or Georgia O'Keefe Ortega or Gargamel, either regular Gargamel or son of Gargamel or whatever, whoever this is, whoever the go-between is, because maybe he brings them to Smurf. Because they don't get along with each other, so he's the one who comes and picks them up and brings. They did. So maybe he's been double dealing. They both nation. He's the one lying the nations into war for some reason.
Right.
He's pulling the wool over their eyes because he's the human who's exploiting these two cultures, right?
Great idea.
Then now we have an easy villain, so like when they need to they all come together in the end.
So why
right? They form the new nation. It's the birth of. It's the 4th of July again. That's our 4th of July thing. The Smurfs and the Snorks come together and they create their a whole country again. They unify.
So I love that. And I'm not going against that. What I was going to pitch, though, was why are we doing this? Why do we do this, right? And then, like, you could have stories like, you know, it's the mom and she's doing her daughter's hair. It's just like, why? I don't know him. Why are we doing this? And she's doing the hair. She's like, we have to appease the gods, whatever. And she's like, you know what happened the last time that we didn't do this right? The ocean got 10 degrees warmer.
What if they think that the humans are gods?
Are we
And
not?
they think Ortega's a god, but they think we had to appease the gods. Hold on,
We're 10 times our size.
they think we're enormous.
Don't
Plus,
you do that.
we're the ones fucking with the ocean. We're the ones whose pollution mutated the Snorks. But they think the gods are doing this to them, and they think Ortega's he represents the gods to them. And what they realize is they've been doing all these things all these years because they were told to, and they were being lied to. Their gods did not love them, and they were exploiting them, and that these aren't really gods, or they were to them, but all beings are fallible. And it turns out the people you worship maybe aren't your heroes, and maybe the people become the villains, right? To them, because the people are the ones who've been destroying the oceans. The people are the ones who've been doing all this. They've been worshiping. They think they did this. They think they brought the toxic waste by not, I don't know, snowing enough snorkel shirts or something. Like, that's why they wear the clothes, is because they think they see the gods wear clothes.
They wear the clothes.
The Snorks have clothes.
I know. I'm wondering why they do.
Because they saw that the humans, that the
it's funny that
their gods wear clothes, so they imitate their god. They try to please the gods.
Yo, this is like this
They
is
don't really
you know how we
their
fucking
pets
killed-
look exactly like them, but the pets don't wear clothes.
You know
and
how
they
we
do.
you know how this movie
This is
concludes?
like Goofy and Pluto,
This
man.
shit concludes. It's
Yes.
fucking Gulliver's Travels. That's how this movie concludes.
I love
the
Gulliver's
Snorks and the
Travels.
Smurfs
I
come
loved it.
together and they fucking tie down Gargamel, Jeffrey Gargamel, and I don't know,
and then
poke him with sticks.
it's the
or
wicker
something.
man.
We midsummer his ass.
Right, but
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
like
They
how-
put him in
you
a
know,
giant
but-
snorkel, and they like.
But then, like,
Dark
you know,
as fuck.
but that, how fitting would it be though that, like, you know, they were worshiping this human, this god, and the god who's speaking to them. And I know you were shunning the idea because I don't blame you. We're trash. But what if at the end, you know, like true love wins over? There is a Smurf and a Snork. They get together, smashing fronts. We like that, whatever. Even though they're trying to prevent it from happening, whatever. But then there is some sort of holy union that happens, and that holy union is what brings back the
Oh
the
my god,
division.
there's finally a Smurf Snork baby. Jesus, Smork.
Yep, and it's Snork.
Wow.
It's a penis.
Thank God.
An actual human being.
Oh my god.
Can we call the sequel Smirkin' Season?
We did it, baby. We did it.
Wow.
But I think that'd be a great way to do it.
people have to die, and we're trying not to kill people.
So not
I'm okay.
well, we're trying to. I think we should try and kill one
Yeah.
person.
I'm okay with people getting smirked. I'm just saying.
Alright, 'cause like-
I was trying to please the crowd here.
And can
no,
we?
everything's good.
I'm with you.
But also,
I'm on
like,
it.
I feel like Greece has like 1,000 islands, and the entire Mediterranean, it's tons
Dressing.
of islands, right? So we don't necessarily Jeffrey Ortega might actually just be the only human that ever goes this one island, and this one tiny small island, no bigger than the fucking size of this apartment, is just the island that he like goes to, and that's where the Smurfs live, and he's just kind of playing his own god, right? He's like playing Sims. He's not conquering an entire ocean, and he's not conquering an entire land. It's just a small little. What do you call it when you hit when the ocean is you bottom out your boat, right? What do you call those?
The breaks? The rocks?
It's like a break.
The reef?
Sandbar?
A sandbar.
You're welcome.
Thank you so much. This dude is just like kind of bored on a sandbar.
I like
He's
your
playing
idea.
God in the way that kids burn ants with magnifying glasses.
But what
kind
if
of
he
thing.
is their god? What if he made them?
Well, he. I mean, technically to them he is, right? He's the
No,
only
but
one
what if he?
intervening.
What if he did make them? What makes him not
Well, we
god?
never said
if he
we
didn't
never
make...
said that. We've established that he didn't make them, right?
How do they know
No,
he didn't make them?
No,
Well, I
no,
guess-
I'm not worried about that. I just mean like the the idea, I'm not saying it's a good idea, but it's the idea that this guy isn't just fucking with these things. He made them, and now he's fucking
I
with
guess
these
you're
things.
right.
So we're
because
back to
that
the
retcons.
There's a
splooge. We're back to
difference.
the splooge.
That
It goes
retcons
back
the
to
No,
Gargamel.
I like the
No, you're right, because that retcons.
They made him with a
No, but you're
low.
going full God about it.
Yeah, total god.
So-
like this fucking megalomaniac
Yeah.
made
Well,
these fucking creatures.
Maybe
Well,
he
no,
tried
remember,
taking the
he's an-
Smurfs, he put them in the
but he's an
engine
ancestor.
oil, and they're like, oh, they turned into the Snorks.
Yeah,
No,
now
remember-
he's
no,
got
remember,
he's got
he's
multiple
just been
things
fucking
going
I
around.
thought we
on.
Like,
said,
he found this
that
cool
he's
little
an ancestor of Gargamel.
Yeah.
So he could still be exactly who we say he is. He's an ancestor of Gargamel who maybe comes upon a tome.
I'm not a big Smurfs guy. Was Gargamel trying to eat them?
I don't know, he had a cat too.
I think
Yeah, I don't
he
remember
was.
what his
Because
goal
he's
was.
not.
He was always trying to put him
He's
in
an
the pot.
he's like an evil guy, but he's not
Yeah.
controlling.
He always
them.
wanted to mix them
Right,
up.
right.
I could give a fuck whether it's Ortega or not, but
Right,
just the
right.
idea. I do think the Ortega thing is pretty funny in this case, where he just made these things, but he doesn't need to be. Gargamel could go to fucking hell. You know what I mean? It's just like this guy. I think that's pretty twisted.
Well, I was thinking it's like
an episode of Black Mirror.
Gargamel banishes one half of the Smurfs and they become Snorks.
Yes.
And then maybe Ortega one day reads his great-great-grandfather's book and was like, oh wait, there's a whole bunch of fucking creatures living on this small little island over here. I'm gonna go fuck with them.
Well,
And
'cause-
everybody thinks it's just silly stories, and he's like, "No, this shit's real. I'm gonna
Right,
find it."
And even the narrator from the beginning from the intro was like, I believe him, right? But all
They
his
never
friends say
said exactly why. They just started showing
Yeah,
Snorks.
it's true. Because, like, why do we exactly believe in God? Somebody told us there was a God. Like, and also it goes back to even then the idea, like, let's say, even in human terms, like, let's say the Bible was real and there is a God, and what is God? God's playing golf with his other God buddy. Like, maybe God's life is fucking boring, and so that's why he's basically doing, like, dogfighting with people. Like, you know, or cockfighting or something.
play The Sims?
That's maybe that's
Sims is
what
fun until
maybe
it's
that's
boring.
what war is to
Fucking hate
God.
playing The Sims.
Maybe that's
I
what
wanna
it is
build.
to
I've
a
never
god.
played
It's just
that.
messing
Give me Rosebud
with
all day.
these little
Rosebud.
insignificant creatures. Putting the ant war, right? Like in the yard, it's God just going, what if I put Antifa against like anti-flag? And, you know, like, and let's see what happens. Like, I'm gonna put a salt shaker over
Yeah,
here.
so I
They
don't
might
think-
find it. Like,
Maybe Ortega's
you know, you're
not
setting
this
the
like
stage.
smart guy, and so he's over here whispering some shit to the Smurfs, and he's over here whispering some shit to the to
He's
the
just
Snorks,
doing a little science
but
experiment.
They think that they're completely separate, and he's collecting clams from one and giving them to the other.
I love the idea that he is fucking with both of these.
What if it's a kid? What if it's an actual kid doing a science experiment for class?
Because it's a kid, right? It's
He's
a
a
kid
kinda
show,
like
right?
he's a kid with like a Macaulay Culkin good son demeanor?
yes.
Oh, he's like
yes.
Sid from
that
Toy
was
Story.
good.
Yeah. Or he's,
Well, I don't know what you're
he's
talking
like that
about.
kid
was
from The
good.
Wire.
I don't know about Toy
he's like
Story,
that
but-
kid from The Wire who tortures cats, like in the
Yes,
alley. Yeah.
yes,
Right.
Same
Like,
thing.
just like a
Like,
twisted
right.
kind
He's
of.
Sid was the
But
one
he
who
just
made
on the
weird
power
ass
trip,
toys.
like the magnifying
The hooker.
glass and the ant kind of idea, where he's doing this as a science experiment because he wants to get like
Vengeful
an A on his
God
prod.
fucking
Yeah,
kinda
maybe he's
energy.
trying to prove something to some girl in his class or some shit. Yeah, he's gonna have the best science experiment. Who knows? But like that's not really relevant. But maybe it's the kid who, to him, this isn't really that big a deal. Right?
Yeah,
He's
yeah.
not evil. He's just. It's just that's how insignificant the Smurfs and the Snorks are to him. But really, he's just a dumb little kid who's just
He's
trying to do a science project, and then he goes and it ends with him going to class and he gets an F on it because like they're just like, so you put little T-shirts on some sea monkeys, and like the teacher doesn't get it.
That's
and the
how it
teacher,
ends.
That's how much nobody gives a
Yeah,
shit.
yeah.
He tries to
But
bring
they
his
all
friends
finish-
back to show them where it happened, but they're all gone because they've unified.
So,
and
but
they're
when
like,
they tie him down and they get him out of there, like his kid doesn't die because it's the real world, so we don't have to have it like violent. But these two lovers who are brought together by circumstance to prevent a war, they fought a god and they won. But they come together, the Smurfs and the Snorks, and they manage to tie this guy down. They uncover his schemes and they say, we're not having this anymore. And they don't know what's going to
selfish piece
happen.
of shit.
They don't know what's going to happen. To them, this is this monumental thing. They just defeated God.
Yeah.
And the kid just gets an F. The consequences for the kid is he doesn't get a good grade. In his
Right.
test.
what if the
He doesn't get an F. He gets a C.
What if the
A C
Smurfs,
plus.
the Smurfs, like idolize him as a god because he wears a turban, but then the Snorks idolize him because he peed once.
What?
Because the Smurfs wear the hat and the Snorks have the snork.
Okay.
It's funny when you think about it.
They just have diapers on their head.
It's diaperish.
We were talking about what if the Smurfs,
Had snorkels.
yeah, they took off their hats and underneath.
Smurfettes brushing their hair and runs their comb through a snorkel.
Yeah.
Yeah, it just
God.
bang, it pops
Yeah.
up. They've had that hat on since birth. They were
Yeah,
told
they
never to
never
take it
checked
off.
it.
Yeah, now you never take off.
Yeah.
They're like weird man. They're Smurf DeLoreans. They can't take.
They
the
didn't
hat
know
off.
it came off.
Right. They thought it was just part of it.
Like Toad from Mario, right? So
They
Yeah, you
stitch it on at
Yeah.
birth. They stitch
Maybe
it
that's
on
what
at
the
birth. That's
snorkel.
crazy.
So the
Like,
girl
that's
goes.
fucking,
Maybe
yeah,
in
isn't
Snorkland.
Isn't it?
Maybe the Snork from Snorkland that when they go to Smurfland to get married, and like during the like they're maybe they're mocking her, right? Like at the wedding, and they're like, and he's like, no, you don't treat her like that. Like we're getting married. I love her. Like we're doing, and they're mocking her for being of an inferior race or some shit. And she goes, "You're not different." Like the Smurf's like, "You're not different from me." And it pulls the hat off, and the snorkel is there. And then they're like, "Oh my God, we're the same. We're not different. Smurfs and Snorks are the same thing, and they've been fucking with. They made different little clothes for one of us and different little clothes for their other one,
They're
and
not
then they
really
pit us
blue.
against each other. And like it turned out, you can
It's just
turn
paint.
and it turned, and then the point there too is you
They
can
dyed
pit.
the blue.
They
They
turned
turned the blue
They did it.
for 100 years.
They donned the air, man.
It's not the Snorks that were exiled. It was the Smurfs.
So what I
They
no,
used
all
to
right,
swim.
But that's all it took to turn them against each other was you just had to give them different clothes.
Make them look a little different.
right, and that was all it was to make them go, we're better than you, and we're better than you.
I want to have a cameo from Stefan Snorkel.
Mother! Dude, we have to go back and edit the episode now. We have to edit.
Stefan.
My new headcanon is that the entire run of the Snorks was
I thought you
happened in
meant
one
a
lifetime.
headcanon.
It happened in one Snork lifetime.
Yeah.
You Gargamel.
Blazing snorkels.
Gargamel bricks. I could definitely start the rundown. I got an idea.
Down under
All
the
right,
sea.
we'll dance your cares away. All right, so that was Fraggle Rock.
I
Never mind.
hated Fraggle Rock.
Anywho, what if Gargamel was from Fraggle Rock the whole time?
Okay.
He wasn't.
Well, let's run it down.
Cut! All right, so we're under the ocean, and we've got some ocean sounds. So we are from the Snork's point of view, looking up at this aura of a humanoid figure that has the sun backlighting him. So he actually kind of has that Catholic Jesus halo
that halo.
behind him, right? Looking down upon us, right? So then it cuts, then the camera right back to the ocean. It crashes right into the ocean, right? And we get a scene of a mom, and she's brushing her daughter's hair, and then the girl's like, "Mama, I don't want to do this. Why are we doing this?" And she's like, "No, this is tradition, honey. It's how I met your dad and how we met, whatever." And she's like, "Well, I don't want to." She's like, "Well, you know what happens if we don't?" She's like, "No, I don't." She's like, "Well, the last time this happened, our God, or whatever his name might be, raised the ocean temperature 10%. We lost a lot of our family that way." And it's a really sad thing, and you're like, you're watching this, and you're like, what the fuck is happening here? Right? And so then we zoom out. And now we've got that bird eye view again, right? And then it zooms in, and now we're on land. We're on land, and we,
I love it.
We're hearing some thuds. And we got a Smurf. We got a Smurf right here, and there's a father who's like doing his son's bow tie, right? And he's like, "Dad, I don't want to do this. I don't even know what she looks like." He's like, "Son, you gotta do it."
I don't know how to swim,
He's
Dad.
like-
Tighten your Kango, boy.
Yeah.
And again, this goes back tale as old as time. They don't know why. Well, they have an idea because they know that their God, which they both acknowledge is the same God, has the power to decimate the land and the water. So they're going to keep abiding by this because the last time they did it, the ocean water temperature rose, killing off a lot of them. The last time we did this, the sun got brighter and killed off some Smurfs.
And to each of them, that proved they were the chosen people. They're the ones who survived.
And they have never met anybody else. So why wouldn't this be true?
We see the Smurf walking to the shore. We see the Snork come up to the shore, and we see God Ortega introduce the two of them. And fade out.
Yeah.
Like implying they live happily ever after. We have a music score or something that tells us that this ends well for them.
Yep.
And then we do kind of a fade down under the sea. Now we meet our two current characters. Okay, so we meet Stefan Snorkel. And
he is Stefan Snorkel.
Stefan Snorkel.
No, it's legit. That's it.
His friends kind of look down on him because they think he's a little pretentious, that he has to say his name all fancy like that. But he is a little bit, but because they've bullied him kind of his whole life, he wanted to go into the military or the Navy service, but his older brother got to do that. And
Navy.
His older brother does that, but they kind of wish they could trade places. We get to see the dynamic of what it's like to be a teenager in Snork World, and that he has been chosen for this divine duty, right? Like everybody else gets to get married or whatever. No, he has to be a missionary, right? He has to be. This is like being a priest, maybe to them. Like this is the holiest and most divine of duties that you can be assigned. And everybody tells it's like kind of like the giver, sort of like the job nobody wants, but everybody cherishes the person who has to do it, kind of thing. We meet him, and he's nervous, right? Because it used to be this normal tradition everybody felt good about, but there's rumblings of war breaking out between the Smurfs. They're at conflict. We see at first, just because we're in Snorkland first, we're seeing the way they understand what Nick's word is to them. Stefan Snorkel, and he goes, he lies down in his Snork bed at night and says, "I wonder who my bride's gonna be. Maybe she'll be amazing." And we,
he's thinking of Laura.
Yeah, and we flash over to Laura Smurf, waking up, going dreaming in her bed. And there for a moment, we see them both in each other's dreams. She was like, "I don't like this tradition." She's got a little punk rock in her.
Oh,
I like that. She never was down with this tradition. She always thought it was bullshit. But she's got a pink hat. She's spray painted a pink anarchy symbol on her hat. And she comes downstairs and are you finally ready to accept? She's been chosen. Like, you've been chosen. It doesn't matter that you don't want to be chosen. This is the way the world works. The sooner you learn that, the better. And she comes downstairs, though, feeling comforted by that dream, and she says, "All right." We follow her for a minute about that's the life that we see of her, right? Like, and how she interacts with her fellow students. She's not bullied, but kids stay away from her because, like, they're scared of her or they think she's weird or whatever. So they're both alienated in their own societies, and this is going to be the character trait that they're both outsiders. So when they finally do meet, they at first, like for a minute there, they kind of resist each other because she's like, "This is bullshit," but I saw you, and like later, but after, like, they're both pretty impressed by each other. They were both outsiders. They bond very quickly. Anyway, they go to sleep the night before the wedding.
Not together.
We suddenly, like you said, we zoom way back out, like to like a satellite of Earth level. We zoom back down, and it comes down into the basement of some random suburban house. And they're sitting around the table. There's a few kids, and one of them is God, or what we know to be God at this point in the movie. We see that in the chair, backlit by what starts as a halo, but comes into focus as what we know as a television screen. The shape of a face in silhouette comes into focus. A hand, perhaps, with a promise ring on it that we thought looked like a ring of a god before, but now just is a cheap, shitty piece of plastic.
Yeah.
So we see him in a basement with his other friends, and there's a sign on the door, maybe it says Club Nick, because they're all named Nick. And it turns out they've been calling him like Captain Ortega, but really his name is Nick Ortega III, and he is a student at Magnet
PS
Charter
115
for accelerated gifted kids. They start talking about their science projects, and one of these Nicks, we recognize him from the extended reboot universe, and his name is he's Nick Jr. He's wearing a little lab coat, these thumb glasses. And he's talking about how he's been messing with the ants in his yard. So this is actually a prequel to Rise of the Patriarchy. And so he hasn't yet gotten shrunk into it yet, but he's been messing with these ants forever. So we see that. Then we see other Nick Jr. He's sitting there and he's like, well, my dad is he runs this celebrity fight, like the richest, most famous people in the world. They come into my dad's ring and he makes them fight each other. That's how cool my dad is. So I'm like, so he's like, yeah. So he's like, my science project is gonna be about like how my dad gave me a bunch of like Z-list celebrities who didn't want to be on the main show. He gave me a celebrity death match of my own.
You should put your ants on my TV show.
And everybody's looking at him like, fuck, you're fucking, of course your rich dad lets you do that. You know, and then they look over to Nick Ortega and he's like, you know what? You guys don't deserve this yet. You're going to have to wait and see it at my presentation. Then we go back to the wedding morning. Nick wakes up late. His alarm clock doesn't go off. He's late for school. And he's supposed to go to the science fair. This is the last day. And he was supposed to go down the pond. He had to get up early to go take care of this, but he fucks up. But he sleeps in. The Fonz, Snorkel, and Laura Smurf, they are getting married. The Smurfs are mocking him.
Oh, I was going.
They're mocking him, and because like turns out this is a ritual. Like they don't like this. Like Snork, they thought this was gonna be like happy, and this is all about peace. No. Like there turns out the Smurfs and the Snorks are pretty mean to the others. So he says, "You're not that much different from me. See, like she's her own person. She stands up for. She's her own Smurf. She stands up for herself. She's not like the rest of you." And he pulls her hat off, and she has a snorkel. And everybody looks around. They're like, oh, she's one of them. And then one of them pulls off his hat and goes, oh, and they realize they're all the same.
Yeah.
Right? And they realize they've been lied to. But now that we know this, what do we do? Usually God comes for you and he brings you into heaven. And they're like, what? What? God is ascending. God who told us we were different? Right now, and like where have all our? But then somebody's like, my daughter got sent away.
Yeah.
I've never met her, and they just figure out really quick that none of the people they sent for these marriages have ever been seen for more than a minute. There was a wedding, and they were ascended into heaven. So Nick comes running in. Because he's late. They realize this, and they say, if we're the same, we probably have a lot of the same things in common. They talk, and of course, because the time frame of the Snorks is like tiny compared to Nick's time frame, they basically have like 7 years to prepare for this battle. So how do we take down a thing this large? And so they start combining all of their resources as society. They're small but mighty. He's enormous, but together our Snorkels go to the sun. And so Nick comes back. He's still trying to wake up, rubbing his eyes. He's running along the little rocks to the pond. He trips. Like he tries to save his terrarium he's gonna put them in, but he breaks his glasses.
Dang.
Like, shit, where are you? And he puts the terrarium down, and it has all the other Snorks and Smurfs that had disappeared, and they see their sons and daughters in that terrarium, and they're like, and they come after him, and so he can't see shit. So they just start. So he's in the ground looking for his glasses, which is how they get him down on the ground. And they get him in the right position, and they wrap the things and the seaweed and the netting around the rocks along the pebbles of the pond, and they tie him up on this thing, and they put him, they ship him out to sea, and they're like, they all have pulled the terrarium over. All of their sons and daughters return to them. They reunite with their families. Where's your project? It's like, I swear it was here. There's these whole
They should all laugh at him for wetting his pants.
Oh,
like,
yeah. They're like,
Yeah.
They're like, were you making this whole thing up? Like, I just had Leonardo DiCaprio murder I Show Speed. Like, what did you do? You think you're gonna get an A on this? Like, the fuck? And everybody laughs at him, and the girl throws his promise ring in his face.
Damn.
Tells him to go fuck himself. And the Smurfs and the Snorkels, they we flash to the future, and they're all old now, and they're all sitting around remembering their memories. And peacefully, they all hold hands and they say, well, God or no God, we were all in this together. We were born together, we fought together, we die together, and it was 2 weeks the whole time.
Yeah, the whole entire thing.
But they are the They've evolved.
The Snorks of old.
They have evolved.
They're the storytellers. They're the tradition.
The survivors.
The survivors, right?
They are the survivors of Hamden Ponds.
That's it.
She's like,
And the funny thing in the end is the fact that the Snorks, the Smurfs, they really were the same cartoon the whole time.
The whole goddamn time.
Incredible.
What a journey.
that was so much fun to fuck with. To go from the start where they were going to join the European Union to end up being a fucking elementary school science project. Like, I'm sorry. Like, that's what...
I do think, yeah.
That is what this show is about.
No,
that is what it's all about.
Saying.
It's like, we all... Like, dude, war is easy to write. War is funny. We ended up with a love story. We ended up with marriage. We ended up with gods.
Yo, thanks for watching y'all. Theme song in 3, 2, 1. So he could be mute. People that don't speak can make noise too.
I guess truly, right? Helen Keller made a lot of... She made a lot of hubbub. She flew a plane.
No, she didn't.
Yeah, she did.
Helen Keller didn't fly a plane.
You guys, you do your own
Wait,
research.
she's blind and deaf. She didn't fly a
You
plane.
do your own research.
Helen's story with her snorkel.
Okay, in June 1946, during a flight between Rome and Paris, Helen Keller briefly took over the controls of a 4-engine Douglas Skymaster. Sitting in the co-pilot seat, she steered the plane for 20 whole minutes.
I didn't say she landed the bitch, I just said she flew it.
Well, then shit, I flown a plane.
That shit doesn't
Is that
count.
true?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's all.
A two-seater. I flown a two-seater.
That's like when you're playing Nintendo and
But
like your
also,
friend's
I
little
will
brother's
concede.
like, can I play? And you're like, you're an idiot.
They
You
just
don't know what
gave-
you're doing.
Yeah.
So
They just gave her a
you give them
paper
the second
plate.
controller and you tell them to play.
Exactly.
They gave her like a wheel of cheese and she's like, I'm doing it.
She was in the
No, but she
bathroom
didn't
and
say I'm doing it.
She didn't say it.
She would not
She
have said that.
didn't say shit. She didn't tell anybody about that story. The pilot was just like, yeah, Helen Keller flew that
got
plane.
much-
Hold on. I'm going to put it in my
You know
memoir.
what? That is actually more badass for the pilot than for Helen Keller, quite
She's as
honestly.
much
He's
as
like,
a-
I
right.
handed the
Much as a
keys to
pilot
Helen
as
Keller and
Charlie
said,
Sheen.
go.
She's got as much to say as Cousin It from Addams Family. That one's funny. You'll put a laugh track over that, Dan.
Great hair.